You've seen them. The person who walks into a room and something subtly changes. Conversations become more attentive. People seem to lean in without realizing it. There is no performance, no attempt to dominate the room, no need to prove anything. Yet their presence lingers. Long after they leave, people remember how they felt around them. Most assume this kind of magnetism is a gift reserved for a fortunate few, a natural charisma, a personality trait, something you either have or you don't. But the Stoics understood a different truth. The qualities that draw people towards someone are rarely loud or obvious. More often they are quiet habits of character, practiced so consistently that they become part of who a person is. What makes this so fascinating is that the most magnetic people are often the least concerned with being magnetic. While others chase attention, they cultivate presence. While others seek validation, they develop self-command. They are not focused on being noticed. They are focused on how they carry themselves through the world. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind becomes colored by its habitual thoughts, and nowhere is that more visible than in the way a person moves, speaks, listens, and responds to the people around them. The calmness that puts others at ease, the steadiness that inspires trust, and the quiet confidence that never needs to announce itself are not performances. They are reflections of an inner life that has been carefully disciplined. And that changes the way magnetism is understood. It stops being something mysterious or reserved for a select few. It becomes something far more practical, a byproduct of self-mastery, the result of learning to govern impulses rather than obey them, to observe before reacting, and to remain grounded in situations that pull most people off balance. The qualities that make a person unforgettable rarely begin with other people at all. They begin within. And once that becomes clear, an entirely different way of thinking about connection starts to emerge. Most people begin losing their influence long before they ever open their mouths. It happens quietly, often without their awareness. They walk into a room already carrying a weight nobody else can see. Thoughts race beneath the surface. Am I making a good impression? Do I look confident enough? Am I saying the right thing? The mind becomes crowded with concerns about perception, and as attention turns inward, presence begins to fade. Instead of engaging with the people around them, they become absorbed in monitoring themselves. Every movement is examined, every word is evaluated, every silence feels dangerous. The result is subtle but powerful. They may be physically present, yet mentally they are somewhere else entirely. What makes this so fascinating is that people are far more perceptive than they realize. They may not consciously identify the source of someone's discomfort, but they can sense it. Emotional states are communicated constantly through posture, facial expressions, timing, and countless small signals that rarely reach conscious awareness. A person who feels tense often creates tension around them. Someone who seems uncertain about their place in a room often creates uncertainty around them. This is one reason first impressions are shaped by more than appearance or words. Long before a conversation begins, people are already responding to an emotional atmosphere. Many people spend years improving their communication while overlooking the state of mind it comes from. They focus on what to say, how to sound more interesting, or how to appear more confident. Yet the deeper issue often has little to do with technique. A mind consumed by self-consciousness struggles to connect because it is occupied with itself. Genuine connection requires awareness, and awareness cannot fully extend outward while it remains trapped inward. The more a person obsesses over how they are being perceived, the less available they become to the reality unfolding around them. This is why some individuals seem naturally magnetic, despite saying very little. Their influence is not rooted in performance. It comes from an unusual sense of ease. They are not constantly adjusting themselves in response to imagined judgments. They are not scanning every interaction for signs of approval or rejection. There is a steadiness about them that allows others to relax. Being around them feels different because they are actually present. Their focus is not fragmented by endless internal commentary. The Stoics understood something that remains deeply relevant today. They recognized that much of human suffering begins when people surrender control of their attention. The mind becomes reactive. Every opinion feels significant. Every criticism feels threatening. Every moment demands an immediate response. Yet freedom begins when a person learns to create space between stimulus and reaction. A pause may look insignificant from the outside. Internally, it changes everything. It transforms experience from something that happens to you into something you consciously participate in. Consider how quickly most people move through conversations. Questions are answered almost before they are finished being asked. Silences are filled the moment they appear. Reactions emerge instantly. Opinions are offered without reflection. There is often a subtle urgency underneath it all, as though slowing down might expose weakness or uncertainty. Yet the opposite is often true. Rushing tends to reveal anxiety. It communicates that stillness is uncomfortable. It suggests that silence must be escaped rather than inhabited. Seneca understood this well when he wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." The wisdom extends far beyond anger. In many situations, the ability to pause is the ability to remain in command of yourself. A different quality emerges when someone becomes comfortable slowing the pace. Their movements become more deliberate. Their words become more considered. They listen fully before responding. They allow moments to breathe. Nothing feels forced because nothing needs to be rushed. This does not mean becoming passive or detached. It means remaining composed enough to choose responses rather than merely producing them. That distinction may seem small, but people notice it. They feel it even when they cannot explain it. There is something reassuring about a person who is not in a hurry to prove themselves. Their calmness sends a message that requires no words. It suggests they are comfortable enough with who they are, that they do not need constant validation from the environment around them. And that comfort spreads. Others begin lowering their own defenses. Conversations become less performative. Interactions become more genuine. The atmosphere shifts because one person has stopped feeding the collective pressure to impress. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself not to be carried away by every impulse that arose within him. He understood that the first reaction is not always the wisest one. The same principle applies in ordinary social moments. The urge to interrupt, explain, justify, impress, or defend often appears automatically, yet automatic does not mean necessary. When a person develops the ability to observe these impulses without immediately acting on them, a different kind of strength begins to emerge. It is quieter than outward confidence, but often far more powerful. The deeper truth is that stillness has very little to do with other people. It begins as an internal relationship. A person learns that silence does not need to be feared. Uncertainty does not need to be eliminated immediately. Not every moment requires action. Not every gap requires filling. As this understanding deepens, the mind becomes less reactive and more attentive. Energy once spent managing appearances becomes available for something far more useful: observation, listening, and genuine engagement. If these ideas resonate with you, consider subscribing as a reminder to keep returning to the work that matters most. The work of understanding your own mind, the work of becoming a little calmer, a little wiser, and a little less controlled by the noise around you. Real growth rarely arrives through dramatic breakthroughs. More often, it emerges through small moments of awareness repeated over time. If that journey matters to you, subscribing is a simple way to continue walking it. And perhaps that is where the deeper question begins. If stillness creates presence, what is it that makes another person feel truly seen? Think about the conversations that remained in your memory long after they ended. In most cases, it was not because the other person said something extraordinary. It was not because they delivered a perfect insight or told an unforgettable story. More often, what stayed with you was a feeling, a subtle sense that, for a few moments, someone was completely present with you. Their attention did not seem divided. Their mind was not wandering somewhere else. They were not waiting impatiently for their turn to speak. They were simply there, fully engaged, fully attentive. And that feeling, although difficult to describe, is becoming increasingly rare. Modern life has created an environment where attention is constantly under attack. Notifications compete for it. Deadlines demand it. Endless streams of information pull it in every direction. As a result, many people move through conversations carrying the same fragmented attention they bring into every other area of life. They hear words without truly listening. They nod while mentally rehearsing responses. They maintain eye contact while silently organizing their next thought. From the outside, everything appears normal. The conversation continues. Questions are asked. Answers are given. Yet something essential is missing beneath the surface. The absence is not always obvious, but people feel it. Human beings possess a remarkable ability to detect when attention is genuine and when it is merely being performed. Someone may smile, agree, and respond appropriately, yet still leave another person feeling unseen. Not because anything offensive was said, but because authentic engagement never occurred. The interaction becomes an exchange of words rather than an exchange of awareness. It satisfies the social requirement of conversation while failing to satisfy the deeper human desire for understanding. This tendency is not new. Long before smartphones, social media, and constant